Welcome to Zone In Sports, where we cover everything, all sports. How's it going out there, E?
It's going good despite the weather. It's a nice day today.
Yeah,
Good to be
weather
on
is.
good to be on vacation from both jobs next week. So all want to
Yeah, I know.
do some collegiate swimming next week. Watch my son do his thing next week when he get in that water.
Okay.
Yes.
Where are you swimming at this week? Next week, rather.
In Elkhart, Indiana, at the Elkhart Health and Aquatic Center is
Okay.
his conference is the Great Lakes Valley Conference.
Okay.
9 schools, Division II,
Okay.
men and women swimming. So I'm gonna fly up to Elkhart, Indiana, and watch my boy do his thing.
All right. Hey, we'll be out there rooting for him. All right. Quick question: did you watch any of the Senior Bowl or the East West All Star game?
I didn't see any of that. Did not.
Okay. I didn't see any of it either. I did watch some highlights of it, but I didn't catch anything. But interesting thing, in the Senior Bowl, you had Elijah Arroyo, you had Xavier Restrepo and Damian Martinez and Jalen Rivers. And the scouts really raving on Elijah. They really raving. They think he's
Yes,
going
they
to be
did. Yes, they
uh,
did.
high high second round, maybe late, if pushing it first round, but I'm thinking high second round. What you think about that?
Uh, I think so. I think he's the number 3 tight end coming out of college.
Yeah.
Some may argue number 2. So if he gets a high first round, but second round for sure, he really showcased what his talents are. He can block really well. He's a really good route runner.
Yeah.
He has good hands.
Yeah.
And he's a dog out there. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Kellen Winslow. You know,
Okay.
Winslow was a real dog.
Yeah.
Winslow was a monster.
Right.
So he kind of reminds me of him a little bit because he's very forward on the field and he's verbal on the field too.
Yeah. And they say he got speed. He was running past safeties.
Oh yeah,
and he got plenty of speed.
He's
So
a big guy, and he's got the build for a tight end. He's like I said, he's a really good blocker, and he's got speed. He can run. He's a very good route runner. And once he gets the ball, they've shown plays throughout the season where he can leave people behind. So
right.
I see him as a late first round, second round for sure for him.
Yeah. And Xavier Restrepo, interesting thing on him. I was listening to an article with Todd McShay. Yeah. And say he a chain mover. The only thing, the concern that they had with him was his speed. But of course, in the NFL, if you can catch the ball, you got great hands, and you can get open, you have no problem.
He doesn't have the speed of, say, maybe a Cooper Kupp. He's not slow. He's not a burner, but he's a chain mover. Like you said, if you need a first, he's your go-to guy. He was Cam's go-to guy. I mean, his numbers speak for itself.
Yeah, I agree.
And it wasn't like, he was out there playing shabby defenses. I mean, he had a couple fumbles, but hell, who doesn't?
Right.
Every receiver going to fumble the ball sooner or later. I don't, even in the pros. So, I'm not going to base his overall season or career on a couple fumbles. I mean, if you look at his numbers and what he's done and the way he can get open and the fact that 9.5 times out of 10 he's catching the ball.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like Restrepo.
I like Restrepo a lot. I think he should be a second or third round pick. He's going to be somebody's really nice number 3 receiver.
Yeah.
Slot receiver that can get in behind linebackers in front of safeties. Especially if you have a really good number 1 and number 2, he could get lost out there. And if you pay too much attention to him, then your 1 or 2 is going to be one-on-one with somebody, and then that's pick your poison.
Yeah. And Damian Martinez, interesting because you can't teach running between the tackles like he do. Great vision, runs hard,
big guy.
And got some speed on him.
Not afraid to make hits. I mean, that hit in the NC State game, he just trucked my man, took him head on and trucked him. So he's shown that a few times that, with people hanging on to him.
Yeah.
I see him as a second or third round pick as a running back.
Yeah. And they really was impressed with Jalen Rivers also. Could play multiple positions on the line.
Mm-hmm.
So That's another one that I
Well,
think he's going to do well.
Miami is very good at developing on that line. So whoever gets him, they just gonna have to fine tune him for the NFL speed, and then he'll be fine. He'll be a name. He'll be a name you hear in the future. Somebody pick him up. Another Eric Flowers type guy, perhaps. He should be fine. He's I would say somewhere between the 2nd and 4th round pick.
Okay. And then in the East-West, you had Francis. Of course, you had Jacoby George. You had Sam Brown, Tyler Barron, and Andreas, regardless. And again, Francisco said look good. All the receivers, they said look good also. So I'm looking for some great things out of them too.
I'm looking for all these guys to get drafted. I think Tyler Barron will be somewhere in the 2nd, 3rd round draft for defensive end because he's got a motor on him. I think George is a pretty good receiver. He's another guy that could be 2nd, 3rd round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Francisco at linebacker, I see him going in the 3rd round, 4th round, somewhere in there.
Right.
I'd be surprised if these guys don't get signed by somebody in one of these rounds. And if not, then they may get picked up afterwards, and get signed anyway. So
you got 9 guys invited to 10 guys, including Cam, invited to the combines. Do you think Cam going to do a workout or not? Combine?
That's up to him. I mean, there's really not much left for him to prove. I think he is arguably the number 1 quarterback in this draft. And I know people are going to say, well, I'm biased because I'm a Canes fan, but
right.
I just think he, looking at film, he has better footwork than Shedeur.
Yeah.
And he has a quicker release than Shedeur.
Way quicker
release than Shedeur. And I see both of them being 1st round picks. That's the main thing. They both going to be, it's not really trying to put one against the other or one is better than the other. I just think that mechanics wise, Cam is a little bit more elite than Shedeur, but that doesn't mean Shedeur won't be an outstanding quarterback in the league. You get them in the right, you get both of them in the right system, and if they got the protection, again, I don't care who you are playing quarterback. If you have the protection, then you're going to be okay. If you could be like my man that came out of Oklahoma at the Rams signed, and what happened?
Yeah. So that's a great showing. You got 10 guys going to the combines out of 22 starters, which brings us into the next question. So you figure we got 4 returning starters on offense, 4 returning starters on defense. But the question is, could they actually be better than they were last year? And I read an interesting article talking about how they could be better. Now, of course, we know at quarterback, you're not going to be better than Cam. You're not going to upgrade, but
it's not about being better than Cam. Again, for the simplistic Miami fan base, you're not going to duplicate Cam Ward. You're getting a different type of quarterback with Carson Beck.
Right.
If we get 2023 Carson Beck, I fully expect Miami to be in the ACC championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's as simple as that. He has the weapons here this year to produce. He has a better offensive line than what he had at Georgia this past season. When the Georgia head coach tells you that his O-line was lacking, that speaks volumes.
Right.
Okay, Texas had that guy running for his life because they couldn't block.
Yeah.
And his receivers were dropping passes all season long. So, I mean, that's a no-brainer. Miami is going to be this kid they got coming in at wide receiver, this 4-star kid that's 6'5", he's a plug-and-play guy now.
Right.
Okay, they got a couple kids coming in, and I know we're going to talk about these recruits.
Right.
Because I think Miami, by far, recruiting-wise, they've recruited some of the best kids that aren't blue chippers.
Right, yeah, I agree.
So defensively, they've turned the secondary completely around. They've gone from having one of the worst secondaries in FBS to probably a top 5 secondary in the nation.
Yeah.
Okay, on paper.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens when they put together. So they've hit the critical areas. They've reloaded that receiver. The running back room is 4 deep with 4 and 5 star kids. You got the blue chippers there. The line is still 8, 9 solid deep. You're 3 deep at tight end, 4 deep at tight end.
Yeah.
So Carson Beck will be just fine. If they protect him, I don't want him to put up Cam Ward numbers. I don't need him to. I don't need him to put up Cam Ward numbers. I need the defense to get a turnover or 2 during the game.
Right.
Maybe every other game we get some special teams, a touchdown, a punt, or kickoff, or a turnover on special teams that could turn into points. I don't expect Miami to have the number 1 offense in the country. You don't need that. I think they're gonna lean a little bit more on the running game this year because you got a 4-headed monster at the running back position.
Right.
Use him. I got a tight end coming in that showed you that he, as a freshman, he's all world.
Yeah.
He's going to be out there. They're going to use him. So get the Cam Ward. Okay, that's one and done.
That's fine.
Great. Carson Beck will do just fine. You give him targets like a Brock Bowers type, which he's going to have.
Right.
And you give him the protection like he had in 23. You're not going to see a lot of interceptions. He won't have to run for his life. He can sit back in the pocket, and he can improvise and run if he needs to, like Cam had to. But most time, if you can sit in the pocket and make your reads, somebody's going to be open.
All right. We got 16 people in the building there. Smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please. Next, we kind of touched on that briefly. Offensive line, going to be just as good as it was last year. So you can see that stabilizing. Receiver-wise, we got, like you touched on, plenty of talent. Even though we lost 4 receivers, I think these guys going to come in and hold their own. You want to talk a little bit about the receivers?
You got some guys right now that are ready. They're ready. They're ready. It's just a matter of plug and play.
Yeah.
Plug and play. They have done an outstanding job with the recruiting. Yeah, Miami's not in the top 10. The day where we sit around and watch national recruiting like we used to do, it doesn't have the fanfare that it did before because of the NIL and the transfer portal. You know, National Signing Day was a big deal. That first Wednesday in February, you tuned in. I used to tune in. I used to take off work to watch this. Have 2 laptops, the TV going. Who we trying to get? I remember when they signed Tracy Howard. That was a big deal to get this 5-star guy.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have the fanfare that it used to. And Texas jumped to number 1. They signed a lot of blue chip 5 and 4-star guys.
Right.
I think where Miami has excelled is they're looking at 3 and 4-star guys that have the potential to be the next star. And it costs the university a lot of money to recruit a child.
Yeah.
Okay. You take Luther Burden, for example. He's a local kid here. Cardinal Riddle, East St. Louis. He chose Mizzou. He stayed home. His family could come watch him. But every school in the country recruited him.
Yeah.
All the big programs, it costs the school money to send coaches to fly up to visit multiple times. How much does a school want to invest in a particular student athlete to really get him? How many times are you going to get him on campus? So if the school is willing to make the investment in a particular student athlete to get them to consider it, let alone sign with them, your blue chip 5-star kids are going to go where they're going to go. Texas is 1. I think Ohio State dropped to 3. Michigan's in there. Even Florida's up to number 8. And they were ranked 40-something several months back. But what about the 3-star kids and the 4-star kids and some of the 2-star kids that got a lot of potential, and with the right development, they're going to bump up a star or 2.
Yeah.
And I think Miami has done a really good job of finding these young guys and investing in them with the recruiting, saying, hey, come down here. We're going to develop you, and we're going to take you from 3 to 4 or 4 to 5 stars.
Right.
They got some really good kids coming in. That could be some really talented young dogs coming in.
Right.
And because with the transfer portal being the way it is, you're a 5-star kid from where you live. You get to, say, Alabama, and as soon as you walk in the locker room, it's full of 5 stars like you.
Right.
So now it's like, do I want my mother and father to fly to Tuscaloosa to watch me sit on the bench?
Right.
Because I got to compete now with these other dudes at my position, whatever it is, and they all 5 stars. They were all the man where they came from.
Right.
Or now do I transfer to another program that might not be a top tier program, but guess what? I could play right away. I could start right away. I could go to an NC State or a Virginia or Iowa and play, or I could stay at Georgia or Alabama or Clemson.
Get you some click.
And I got to compete now.
All right. I'm going to read this comment real quick from Florida Claimers. Ted, it says, Miami embraces the NIL and transfer portal, which helps us catch up to Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, and Oregon. I agree. And that's kind of like what we're touching on in this article here, because even though Miami lost 64% of their offense, to the draft, you have to look at what the NIL has brought to the table, where you can, like you said, plug and play and catch up to other teams that's getting blue chippers.
I want to read something I got from THM in regards to the recruiting for this season. The Miami Hurricanes football 2025 recruiting class just got a little bit better in the eyes of scouts, as several players saw their rankings increase in the recent 247 recruiting rankings. Hayden Lowe, edge rusher from California, they flipped him from USC.
Right.
That was big. That's really big. They flipped this kid. He just got his 5th star. He was a 4-star.
Right.
This goes back to what I was saying about, okay, you got kids on the edge of being 4 or 5-star kids that your Georgias and Alabamas and Ohio States were strictly going after 5-star recruits.
Right. And
they weren't really looking at the 3 and 4-star guys. Whereas Miami said, okay, we're going to go underneath the radar and look at these 2, 3, and 4-star kids, because we know they're on the cusp of getting the next star. And they're legit elite athletes.
Right.
So, yeah, your Texas, Ohio States, Michigans, Georgias, Alabamas, they're going to get all these 5-star blue chippers. But what about the rest of them that are really just as good? They just didn't get that 5th star.
Right. And it's interesting. I'm going to bring it into this right here, where we're going to talk about a guy that Heatherman is trying to flip right now. And I'm going to share the screen with people. It is Danny Oden. And the funny thing about this, he was committed to North Carolina, but they're trying to flip him hard. So I think he decommitted from North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. But it just shows the prowess of when they got Heatherman in there, and again, that he's out on that trail trying to get kids to come here. So
they're targeting guys, like you said, they're targeting guys that are getting overlooked.
Yeah.
Minnesota had a couple dogs on that defense. They didn't get looked at by Georgia and Bama and Ohio State because they weren't 5-star blue chippers.
Right.
But they showed you on the field against Penn State and against the teams in the Big Ten that they played that, hey, these were some dogs out here that they had.
Right.
Even though it was Minnesota.
Right.
So Miami right now is 5th in the transfer portal. They rank 5, and you still have one more transfer period opening in the spring.
Right.
So Miami is making calculated moves. I will give Mario and his staff that they're making very calculated moves. They're making moves that count. We're playing chess, not checkers. They're making moves that count, that North Carolina can't make and Virginia Tech can't make. The only other schools that might be able to make a move like that would be a Florida State, if Dabo does it with Clemson, to make a move for a transfer kid. But these other schools, at least as far as the ACC is concerned, it's a no-brainer. Miami has no excuse to not be in the ACC title game this year. None. SMU is not going to be what they were last year.
Right.
Okay. There's no excuse why they shouldn't be there. They're getting all these pieces together to make a more balanced team after what we saw this past season.
Right.
Best offense in football with the worst defense in football, and look what happened.
Yeah.
And you still went 10-2. Right.
And we have another one coming on, set up a visit, which we're going to share this one so the chat can see. And interesting, big time up at IMG. The funny part that some of these guys, of course, we saw play when they played East St. Louis. And if guys haven't seen that game, they probably have it on YouTube or something. It was a real competitive game. I think IMG won by 2 points, I believe.
2 or 3 points, yeah.
Yeah. And but in saying that, IMG had some monsters on that line. And
it speaks. East Side could have won that game. Some people will argue that that's both coaches were very, I don't want to use the word arrogant. They were overly confident.
Yeah.
And it ultimately cost East Side in the end because they could have won that game. That would have been a huge win for East Side over IMG.
Right.
But it went to show that East St. Louis belongs with these other elite high school teams from around the country. Having said that, this young man, along with a lot of other guys on that team, they are some big dudes. They look like college dudes, and they're 18 in high school.
Yeah, there's some monsters there.
They got some monsters. They got some monsters at Lutheran North. They had some monsters at Cardinal Ritter. They got some big boys.
Yeah.
I mean, and if they get the right development, watch out.
Yeah. And the funny part, Brett, I think his name was Colo J, if I'm pronouncing it correct. He's going to be coming to campus in June 6th for a visit. You also have Ryan Meret. He's coming June the 20th, 6'4", 290, another huge lineman. So they got some guys that's coming in the June after the spring type deal coming to visit the campus. Let me put this comment on the screen. It says, Cristobal is nowhere to get the good ones unranked. Miami Central, our local South Florida schools, have all the talent we need. Lots of kids want to stay home. UM building the 80s dynasty. And the only thing I would disagree with that is that you do want to lock up your local talent, but the one good thing, Mario is going outside and he's getting people to go outside the state because there's so much talent around the nation. And if you can find them, one or two there, it could change your whole program.
Well, I agree. He's doing what Butch Davis did.
Yeah.
Butch went out and got Dorsey. He went out and got the #1 high school kid in the class of 99, which was DJ Williams out of California. Could have went anywhere in the country. He chose Miami. No indoor facility, none of that stuff they got today. But it fit their mentality. He's trying to create that alpha dog that they used to have, that the university got away from over the past 20 years, especially after Randy Shannon was let go.
Right.
And they brought in Gold, and there's nothing against Al Golden as a head coach. I don't think he was a bad head coach. I just think he had so many variables against him within the university and outside the university. Those years between 11 and 17 were really tough.
Yeah.
He had some talent, but he was fighting against a lot of different things. So I think Mario he got away from the Diaz coaching style, but they let a lot of things go when he was here.
Right.
And now he's this dog mentality. You gotta bring that back.
Yeah, I agree.
It won't be like it was in the 80s where they can get away with everything.
Right.
But you gotta bring back that alpha dog thought process of anytime, anywhere, we're gonna kick your ass.
Right.
Just say when and where. When you get that back, I think, and I want to say this for the record, there should never, ever, ever be another Jeremiah Smith that leaves the city of Miami to go to that school. I don't care if a 5-star kid wants to leave. I'd rather you go to Florida State. I'd rather you go to Florida, not Ohio State. There's
right.
I don't care what anybody says. There's no excuse, man.
Right.
There's no excuse.
I'm gonna put this up here on the screen. Matter of fact, I have these Zone In Sports. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and gift you one. Let me know what your size is. Zone In Sports, and also for one of my top chat contributors, Anthony Manzano. I'm gonna put his comment up, brother. I'm gonna send you a free shirt. Go to my email, zoneinsports.gmail.com. Put your information in, send you one of these Miami Hurricane Green Zone In Sports shirts. So congratulations to you. And anybody else that wants to purchase one and support the channel, just they'll be available for sale, I believe, Monday. So just give me time, and we're gonna get that cracker for you. But Anthony, like I say, send me your information, zoneinsports, gmail.com, and I'll get this shipped out to you there, brother. Is there any other 5-star tackles in the class of 2026 visiting us like Cantwell? To my knowledge, no, not linemen. I know it's some 4-stars that we're going to talk about,
Right.
but I don't think there's any ones that to my knowledge. If there
Don't
is,
worry,
somebody let me know.
They'll come.
Yeah.
They'll come. Like I said, let Texas and Alabama and Ohio State, let them chase all the schools want the 5-star kids, Miami included, Missouri, all of them. They want the 5-star blue chipper. They're going to go to the highest bidders.
Yeah.
Texas has got the deepest pockets.
Yeah.
A&M showed you a few years ago when they had the #1 overall recruiting class. They had the deepest pockets. The oil money run deep into the earth like the oil is. They got the money.
Right.
They're going to get these blue chippers. You have to be patient. When all these 5-stars are in one room, sooner or later, some of them are going to transfer.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to want to. These kids are not like when we were kids. They don't want to. Some of them don't want to compete. They want to go where they can play right away. Yeah, and if you're a 5-star tackle, and I look over here and I got 4 other 5-star tackles, I got to compete now. And like I said, my mother and father is not going to fly all the way to Tuscaloosa or Athens, Georgia, to watch me sit on the sidelines and I don't get in.
Right.
I can transfer somewhere else where I can get an opportunity to play and get developed.
I'm going to put this up here. This got a baby laugh. This is from Marley Bell. I think he's being a little humorous with this statement here, but he says, no, I'd rather have Jeremiah right where he's at, not UF or FSU.
No. I understand where he's coming from.
Right.
I understand where he's coming from, but brother, I can't do it. I can't do it, man. And the reason why I say that, I'm looking for something. It'll break your heart like it did mine. I'm sorry. Let me find it.
Take your time there.
I'll be sure to share it with everybody because it'll break your heart. But no, we on one hand, we don't want to have to play against them.
Right.
I don't mind playing against them because maybe my cornerback is a dog and I want to see that battle.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
He gonna come home and play. If he was at Florida State or Florida, I'd like to see that battle. I don't mind seeing that battle. Do you?
Right.
I don't mind.
I don't.
I don't mind seeing that battle. This is what makes me sick. Okay. This is what makes me sick. If you could see this, I haven't forgotten this.
Oh, the Ohio State game? Yeah.
I haven't forgotten this. Okay. I can still turn on YouTube and look at this shit and be really upset. I haven't forgotten this. So, like I said, we cannot have any more kids from our area go there.
Right.
I don't care if you go anywhere else, but not there. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna put this comment up here from Donovan Reed here. And it says, sometimes you have to look at the kids and see how they perform. Don't look at the stars. Desmond Reed, is that kid? A kid, I think
he's right.
Right. And that's true. Yeah.
He's right. It's not always about the stars. It's about you scouted this kid. How much if they see the potential in a 2-star or a 3-star, okay. How much is the school going to invest in trying to recruit him?
Yeah.
How many times are we going to fly Mario up or somebody from the staff to go up and recruit him? The phone calls, the letters, the visits.
Right.
Getting you to come down and visit. And then if you like it, getting you and your parents to come down and visit. This is all on the school's dime.
Right.
Schools pay the money to get these kids to come. So, okay. They're seeing that these 3-star kids and 4-star kids are right there.
Yeah.
They may not have that 5th star, but they're right there. They're solid kids. They're exceptional student athletes. Why pass on them because you're just chasing 5 stars? It's like you said, it's not always about the stars. It's about what they put on the field.
Right.
I'm really excited for this wide receiver Miami's getting that's coming in. That 6'5" kid. He's a 4-star.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Dude he is legit.
yeah. I agree. We got 32 people in the building. Smash that like button so we can get this in the algorithm and hit that subscribe button. I'm finna put Pinellas Kane up here. All right, welcome back, brother. It says after the draft this year and next year, Miami recruiting will start excelling because these kids have for years wanted to see production. Yeah, I agree.
I think this past season was a huge step. Going 10-2, despite the naysayers focusing on their defense, they saw the type of numbers that were put up.
Yeah.
They saw I think one of the most important things that the Miami Hurricanes athletic director needs to do is find a way to keep Shannon Dawson as the offensive coordinator at Miami.
Yeah.
You're going to have to open the bag for him so he doesn't bounce to go to another school or take a head coaching job.
Yeah. There's already little rumors out there that he
right.
wants to leave.
He might. I don't think
he wants to leave, but
right.
better offers. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because the powers that be, anytime Miami had any type of anything good, they want to hurry up and get him out of there.
Yeah. I agree.
They want to hurry up and get them out of it because they know if half the kids stay home and they got good coaching and good development, what's going to happen?
Right.
It's going to be a repeat of 20-some years ago. It's going to happen all over again. It's going to happen. So, and I really think the schools outside of Florida don't want that. They don't want to see Miami, Florida State, or Florida begin to ascend because that means the kids are going to stay in Florida.
Yeah.
And the Florida schools are going to start to dominate again. And all your Georgia schools and Texas schools are going to be, they're going to be good, but they're not going to be, they're going to know the natty going to run through a Florida school.
Right, yeah. All right, we're going to put this up here before we go to the next topic. It says, can you understand why Jeremiah went to Ohio State? Because look at the track record of elite receivers in the NFL that they have sent from the program. Kind of understand, but then you're missing history because we put receivers there too.
Their wide receiver coach is one of the best, if not the best wide receiver coach in the country.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, I can understand that. Yes, if I could come into your living room and say, hey, man, I could put you in the league. The same way Calipari said to Kentucky, all the parents at Kentucky, all five freshmen were first-round draft picks in the NBA because you one and done. I could put you in the league. Jeremiah Smith could go in the NFL right now. It's just they got that rule that you have to play 2 years in college first.
Right, yeah.
He could go play in the NFL today. He's that type of kid.
Right.
Is he a generational talent? I don't know. I'm not taking nothing from him. But have you seen guys like him before? Yes, you have.
Yeah.
Andre Johnson was one of them.
Yeah.
So, but I understand why he went there because Cam wasn't signed yet.
Right.
And I can understand. And the bag was bigger. I mean, let's keep it 100. Yeah. The bag was bigger at Ohio State, of course.
Yeah, I agree.
It was bigger. Let's not be naive here.
Right.
If I'm coming with a larger bag for you to come here, and I got one of the best coaches, and I'm telling you, you stick with me, I'm gonna put you in the league, which he already knew anyway. Coming out of high school, he's gonna be in the NFL. I don't care if he would have went to Stanford, he would have still gotten the league. Yeah,
natural talent.
He's the natural talent. He could have went to Michigan State. He could have went to Syracuse. He could have went anywhere. Luther Burden, he going in the league. He's one of them type of kids.
Yeah.
Now, my man who left Missouri to go to Georgia, that came from East St. Louis, is he going to go in the league?
Probably not. Hell, he can't catch the ball.
He can't catch.
Right.
You bounced on Missouri because you thought the Georgia grass was greener, and now look at him.
Right.
Okay. So Jeremiah Smith, of course, I'm just speaking as a Miami kid. That happened. Don't let it happen again.
Right.
Just don't let it happen again.
Yeah. We're going to share the screen here, and then we're going to talk about Coach Etheridge. Again, I thought about something you said a week or two ago about his deep roots in Alabama. And it just shows, again, how it's good to have people on your staff that can go outside your state and start getting quality talent at
there's talent in Georgia and
Yeah.
Alabama.
Oh yeah.
It's talent in the South. It might not be as much as it is in Florida, but there's talent in the South. Yeah.
Yeah. He a 4-star cornerback, 6'1", 175. So he went there to go meet with them, and from all reports, the meet was pretty good. So again, you know, you got your
If the
deep back court coach coming in.
yes,
He's doing what he's supposed to do, going in other people's backyards, trying to flip talent.
you could flip the talent, and if the kids that are here now, I'm hearing there's going to be some more transfers leaving from Miami, transferring out.
Yeah.
And okay, that's to be expected because they're looking for a certain type of kid. You got to have the grades to go to Miami because let's keep in mind, this is an educational institution, a private university. You got to have the grades.
Right.
So it's not a state school like Alabama. Sorry.
Right. Right.
There's no basket weaving classes at Miami.
Right.
So yeah. I know Bama fans may not like that, but it is what it is. I'm not going to Alabama to be a doctor. I'm going to play football. So anyway, if they're going to come down to South Florida and try to get talent, it's up to Mario to go outside of the state and do the same thing.
Right. Anthony puts up here, he says, but let's be honest, what else can you do besides go to college football games at Ann Arbor, Columbus, Athens, and Tuscaloosa? Well, yeah, it's college towns. So, yeah, it ain't too much to do there, you know. And I mean, just being honest. We're gonna
Ann Arbor about the best one because you're right down the road from Detroit. So you got stuff.
Well, yeah, you can go down there.
You got stuff to do in the D, but yeah, that's true. When you get to these small college towns, there's nothing going on.
No, ain't nothing going on. So we got coming on campus. You have Jay Lamar, number 126 overall prospect, 13th running back. So you have him, and it's interesting. I haven't watched a lot of film on him, but we do know he is coming for a visit. You have Jalen Waters, of course, 159th overall pick, 14th ranked cornerback. He's a Florida commit, so they're trying to flip him, trying hard to flip him. Messiah Hampton.
Well, that win against Florida at the beginning of the season was that was big.
Yeah, real big, because I'm pretty sure he was at the game, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not sure, but I'm almost 100% he was at the game. So, but you have Messiah Hampton, 164th overall, number 22 ranked wide receiver. He's got commitments, of course, to Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Rutgers, and Syracuse. So getting him on campus. And who else? 3-star Tony Williams, 695th overall prospect, 58th linebacker. And who else we got in the 26th class? Jason Lopez. So we have some guys coming on campus. It's good to see that they're out there getting these guys to come in, and we're going to see how that all pans out. So we'll see what happens from there.
We got a nice class coming in. Again, the offensive line is the key for everything.
Yeah.
The offensive line is the key for everything. You build around that. And I think Mario has done an outstanding job with the O-line, with the depth and the development. The offensive line coach, Mirabal, is one of the best in the country at development.
Right.
And these big-time O-linemen from all over the country are seeing that, hey, Miami is a player when it comes to getting guys ready for the next level. And Rivers is going to show you in the draft, hey, he's going to be a high draft pick.
Yeah, yeah.
So these kids see that, and if they got the grades and they aspire to go to the next level at that position, Miami's going to be in the running.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to drop a phone number in the chat there for you guys. And if you guys want to call in the show, got any questions for us, please feel free to do so. I just ask that you don't have us on speakerphone. We're going to try to keep everything under a minute. Of course, if you want to call, here's the number in the chat. But yeah, so looking at all the stuff that's going on this weekend, and of course we got the spring game coming up, and we do have some guys that's going to come from unofficial to the spring game also before they make their officials. So we got a couple of guys. I think they said that they haven't scheduled an official visit, which is fine, and I think they're going to be okay. I'm really interested for this spring game. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. That's the spring bring is just like last year. It's critical. They're gonna see what they got going into the summer, and then once fall practice hits that first week of August, then we'll really know.
Yeah.
But the spring is where they can get their feet wet and get used to the especially for the freshmen coming in, get used to the practices, the meal preps, the nutrition.
Yeah.
The schedule in the early morning. It's not like high school now.
Right.
Whole different ball game. And they're going to get their reps. All the young guys are going to get their reps, especially in the spring game, so we can see where you're at.
Yeah.
I
seen I was watching the women play, I think about a week ago, and it was interesting. I seen Carson Beck sitting there with this big old thing on his arm, and I said, boy, he don't look like he's ready, but I know it's just part of the process of him just rehabbing and stuff, and it just made me laugh. He was sitting in the front row watching his girlfriend play, so I thought that was pretty funny there, but I think they were saying he's ahead of schedule, so we'll see how that works out for him.
He's going to be fine. Everybody focusing, especially outsiders, are really focused on this. He's going to be fine, man. It's the same injury Brock Purdy had with the Niners, and Brock was fine.
Yeah.
Again, it happens because your line isn't blocking.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Again, if your line does not block, I don't care if you Tom Brady, Joe Montana. It doesn't matter who you are. You're going to get worked over.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was my man for the Rams quarterback after number 10? What was his name? He was a pocket passer, but he was lethal till he had to run.
Before
under Mike Martz. Gosh darn, it's on tip.
Not Tony Banks.
No. It was after the Rams won a Super Bowl.
After, okay, because I was going to say Trent Green. Then you had Warner, and then you had
after Warner.
I'm not sure.
I'll figure it out. But anyway, he was lethal when he had time.
Yeah.
But when he had to run and when they was getting him.
Oh, Mark Bolger.
There it is.
There it is. Somebody said Sam Bradford. There's another one.
Sam Bradford was a bust because, again, they gave him that. But Mark Bolger was lethal.
Yeah.
He had protection. I remember those games. He was very lethal.
Yeah.
But any quarterback, I don't care who it is, if he doesn't have time, everybody can't be Mahomes. Everybody can't be Lamar.
Right. Yeah, true.
You're not gonna get a bunch of Josh Allens all the time.
Right.
And even them, they're not trying to run all over the damn place. They want a clean pocket, at least make your reads. That's what I mean.
Hey, Josh Allen might be trying to run all over the place, but I digress.
He a big guy. I mean,
yeah.
I'll even go so far, even with Shador. I think if Shador would have had more time, he would have had even better numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
His line wasn't the best at Colorado. I'll give him that. If he would have had you push Shador behind the line, I think he's right there with good numbers.
Yeah, it's just something about the NFL is just you sped up a little bit. So I don't know. I'm just waiting to see on Shador. I'm just kind of keeping it out there. We got Coach Terry Jefferson coming in from Jackson State. Of course, he was here in 2022, so they added him to assist with the D-backs. Did you do any research on him, or what do you think about that? I think about him coming home.
Any help that will come in is great. They saw on the defense where they were hurting. Yeah. And I think this new defensive coordinator coming in, he wants to be aggressive in the secondary. Because if you're aggressive with the secondary, your D-line play is going to be better.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to give the other opposing team's quarterback, he's going to have to, that second or two, he's not going to throw it. Now my D-line can eat.
Yeah.
Okay, if I got aggressive corners that are ball hawks, and my safeties are aggressive, and they're gonna come up toward the line of scrimmage, and they're not afraid to stick their nose in there and get at the run, to stuff a run, or bump heads with a tight end, or try to cover a running back out the backfield. I'm setting my defensive line up to do something nice if that quarterback has to drop back and pass.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree.
I got what I had last year. Ruben Bain on top of being hurt. He was so close so many times, but remember, we talked about this. The corners were garbage.
Yeah.
The safety play was garbage.
Yeah.
So, and not taking nothing away from the Frederick, the freshman, because he's gonna be
OJ. Yeah.
He's gonna be elite.
Yeah.
He had to take lumps as a freshman. You're gonna do that. But the rest of them, no, I'm sorry. And that's why the line couldn't do it. And even with the numbers that Barron had and Bain had and Moten had, they had some really – that D-line was nice.
Right.
Don't put all the blame on them. They couldn't get to the quarterback because the ball was gone already because their receivers were open.
Yeah. I still think they could have generated a little bit more pressure, but like I said, it's kind of like they just still want to work in unison.
I felt the same. I was like, why didn't they run a few more, maybe a corner blitz? I've seen that in the past, corner blitzes. They didn't run any safety blitzes. It was very generic what they ran all season. And I'm thinking after a while, I was like, are they doing this on purpose?
Right.
Even after the bye week, I'm like, they didn't make any improvements. Even after the bye week, you didn't make any scheme changes after the bye week. I'm like, the Wake Forest game said a lot to me, even though they beat Wake Forest by large numbers. By halftime, you were scratching your head like, what's going on? They were getting off simple plays. Just the adjustments weren't there.
Yeah.
And I think the Florida game was the first game of the year. It was fool's gold. Everybody was hyped. And it just didn't materialize after starting with the Virginia Tech game. It really started to rear its ugly head with the secondary.
Right. All right. We got this one here. We got 26 people in the building. Smash that like button and share this video and subscribe if you haven't subscribed there. They say, I've said this multiple times. When you look at the mobility of Luke Nickel, he's like Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, where they're going to give you 5 to 6 yards when needed, but they're a pocket guy.
And that's fine. If I got a line to make me a pocket and protect me, I don't need to run around. I shouldn't have to run around. I've got weapons. I should not have to run around. Ken Dorsey did not have to run around.
Right. Yeah, right.
He did not have – Von Smith did not have to run around.
Right.
If I got running backs behind me that's going to give me what I need, and I got a line that's going to give me a wall where I can count 1,004, 1,005, and I can make my reads, I'm going to be effective. If I snap the ball and somebody's already getting at me, it's going to come down to my line play. Can my running backs and tight ends pass protect for me when needed? Because teams are going to blitz you. They're going to come at you. They're going to run stunts. They're going to blitz from somewhere. If I can protect the quarterback, Luke Nickel will be just fine. I'm telling you, if all goes well with Carson Beck, this Luke Nickel kid coming behind him, Miami gonna be, and then the next that next young kid behind Nickel, oh man, this is gonna be the next 4 or 5 years at quarterback are gonna be very nice for Miami.
All right. I got Pinellas Kane in the house. It says Bain and Messador could have had more sacks if they weren't dropping in the coverage. Yeah,
that's true. I didn't like that either. I'm like, why is this D lineman in coverage? I'm like, that just made you question Lance Guidry, what he was thinking about. I don't know what he was thinking about. The Virginia Tech game comes to mind. I'm like, why did they only rush 3 and instead of let that dude run around and have time to even launch a ball? I'm sitting there with my son like, I said, if they lose this game, it's going to ruin our trip down here. And they almost did. And some people said they did, but
right.
No, I get that. The defensive lineman has no business dropping into coverage. He needs to be pushing the quarterback, or at least playing contained. The only The only problem I had with Tyler Barron's game is there was a few times he did not contain on the outside.
Yeah.
And they got burnt on that side. He didn't contain. A defensive end's job is to contain, and he didn't.
Right.
A few times and got exploited. But other than that, I think we're gonna see an entirely different type of defense this year.
Yeah, the only time you should be dropping linemen back if you got freak athletes like that young boy from Penn State or something like that, where they could drop back and they could pick it off, or JJ Watt.
If I'm dropping a lineman in coverage, that means I'm compromised somewhere else. In my opinion. If I got solid linebackers and a solid secondary, I'm not dropping a defensive end in coverage or a tackle.
Yeah, right, yeah. Like I said, let's say just straight freaks. If they're freaks, then I could see, you got some guys that's out there.
If you're a freak, go get the quarterback.
Either or. It says, I believe the reason why we didn't run a ton of exotic corners and safety blitzes is because if we did, we would have been more susceptible to getting burnt. Probably so.
I mean, but hell, you was getting burnt either way. So why not try it one time? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks dropped back 3 steps at Syracuse game, and I'm thinking, we up 21-0. They finally looking like they supposed to look, and then they come back, and I'm like, dude was just, what was his name? Kyle McCormick for Syracuse, the quarterback.
McCord.
He was just killing them.
Yeah. Yeah, but that Syracuse game just it still baffles me, just the way that game.
I stopped smoking, but man, I don't know how many cigarettes I smoked in the garage. Goddamn man. Oh man, I think I went to a pack of squares that evening.
Oh man, so going back to Coach Etheridge and him coming in and making an impact in recruiting. It's going to be interesting to see how he molds this secondary. Well, him and Heatherman, because they all working together, mold them, with them not having a lot of experience for us playing together, to become one unit. I think that will help them is that he wants them to play fast, because when you play fast, you don't make mistakes generally. You're not thinking. You don't get caught flat-footed thinking. So it's going to be interesting.
I think that was part of Wesley Saint's game. He's a very fast linebacker, and if you don't overthink it, you just attack.
Right.
When you're playing defense, you don't overthink things. You play your position, you do your assignment, and you just go.
Right.
And I think with these guys coming in, they want an aggressive, fast secondary.
Right.
With that, you must be reading something funny, because
I just read something funny, and then he laughing at you because
I know it,
because it's the secondary, and he know Steve puts up there got me laughing about that secondary. Well, it's the truth. We know they play.
Man, I mean, come on. We were all feeling good in the Syracuse game when it was 21-0, but in the back of your mind, the back of your neck, that one hair stood up like, this is our defense.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
Shit, come on, man. That was the most disgusting thing I've seen in a long time. So
yeah, when I watched that defense, even though I knew we were winning games, I was like, it's just a matter of time for this to catch up with us. That's the way I kept thinking.
As good as they looked against Louisville at Louisville, they came right back.
Yeah.
And scored. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm glad this is getting put to bed. I think with these new coaches coming in, again, they're going to be very aggressive with the secondary.
Right.
They're bigger. They're faster. They're proven tacklers. They got some really good guys out of the portal, some elite guys out of the portal.
Yeah.
Okay, these aren't just run-of-the-mill dudes they went and got. They went out and got some top-notch, the very best dudes that were available in the portal. They got them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The best kids you could get from the recruitment trail in high school, they got some of the best kids.
Yeah.
So now it's time, they're going to put it together. And I think if that secondary is again aggressive, not thinking a lot, play the keys, that's going to free up a lot of things for Bain and the rest of that D line. And it's going to free up the linebackers, because we solid at linebacker.
Yep.
We are solid at linebacker. So I'm not concerned. I got a lot of faith in this guy coming in. I'm not worried about the offense. The offense is going to do what it do.
Yeah. And we haven't talked about Kevin Beard much, but he's been out there also, doing what he does, and we know that he's been bringing in some stud receivers. So,
oh my goodness, like I said, I forgot the young man's name coming in. Dude that's coming in is he's gonna play this year as a freshman. He's playing. What's this kid's name? I seen some film on him, and he was just unreal. Unreal what this young man is going to do.
Say a freshman?
Yes, sir.
Joshua Moore?
That's him.
Okay.
That's him. He's going to play.
Yeah.
He's playing this year. Lord willing, he doesn't get hurt. This young man will play, and he will be a weapon for Carson Beck.
Yeah.
So that's why I wasn't hurting when Isaiah Horton decided to go to Alabama. It was a strange decision for him to go to Alabama. Maybe he thought, oh boy, was staying and wasn't going in the draft, but
yeah, it's weird those transfers, like you said, when they go to Bama, because we still talk about how boy left Mizzou and went to Bama, and he thought it was going to be better when it.
This kid is 6'4", weighs 210. You got Malachi Tony coming in. He reminds me. He's a little bit of he reminds me a lot of say a Jeff Thomas a little bit that came from East Side. People forget about him.
Yeah, he was a dog.
Jeff Thomas was a dog.
Yeah, he was a dog.
I wish we'd have kept that pipeline with East St. Louis going. Because they got some killers over there.
Yeah,
every year. But he reminds me of him a little bit, but he can do other things. He's a kickoff returner. He's a punt returner. He's an exciting guy. He could be another Peter Ward, Santana Moss type kid.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll see if he plays or gets redshirted because the wide receiver room is so deep.
Yeah, it's pretty deep.
But he's not. He could have went somewhere else, and he still can. But I don't see him going anywhere. So we got some nice kids coming in, man. They got some real nice kids coming in, and they're all signed. A lot of 4-star kids. So I'm really impressed with this class of recruits they coming in, and coupled with this new defensive coach and the staff. And I don't see any drop off with Jason Taylor coaching the D line.
No,
at all.
I don't.
If anything, I see it ascending.
They're going to be better, a lot better.
Once the secondary does what they're supposed to do, I think this junior year Bain is going to really, if Bain can stay healthy, because I still don't know what happened to him in the Florida game after one series.
Yeah.
I heard it was a soft tissue, but it was something where he sat out 8 games?
Yeah,
he's 8-9 weeks he was out.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, with the bye weeks, and when he came back, he wasn't 100%, even though he was still in there raising hell.
Yeah.
So I never really heard what happened to Bain, but I think this year could be a breakout year for Bain because, again, I can't stress, if your secondary can cover and that quarterback has to hesitate 1,000, 1,000, that much longer to make a read, Bain going to get his hands on you.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, somebody else going to get their hands on because they're going to double team. If they double team him, somebody else going to get.
Especially with that beast of a nose tackle they got coming in.
Right.
Or tackle. Yeah, so.
You got that 5-star freshman that played a little bit last year. Now he's coming back. I mean, they got some killers up front.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to the defense this year. I'm not worried about the O. As long as everybody healthy, I think Carson Beck going to get his numbers and
do his thing.
With Dawson making the calls.
All right, do you agree with Pinellas Kane on this statement? It says Mario's priority this year has to be managing the second string quarterback. Last two, he mismanaged Ja'Cory Brown and Emory. Play Luke Nickel every chance you get. No red shirting.
I can see that because, like I said, you got the transfer portal opening up in the spring. If Luke Nickel beats out Emory, I would not be surprised if Emory transfers. If he
If,
doesn't,
if it does. Yeah.
if he doesn't transfer, that means he just really loves Miami and he's loyal.
Yeah.
And that's that. And that, if he doesn't, then that just speaks to the culture and the staff. That, okay, he could go somewhere else and play.
Yeah.
He could go somewhere else, a Virginia or Western Kentucky or Western Michigan or anywhere, and probably end up starting.
Yeah.
But if he decides to stay, that speaks to the culture of the program and what they got going on. But I would think that Luke Nichols is going to be your number 2.
Well, do you think he mismanaged Ja'Cory Brown?
Yes and no, because what did Ja'Cory Brown do this past season?
Right.
Did he go to Central Florida? He went to another Florida school.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it. I mean, it's nothing against him. It's nothing against him.
Right.
I didn't hear his name a lot. Okay. He's talented. He's gifted. He can throw with protection.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he won you some games a couple years back, but I agree with that. They really need to focus on who's going to be the number 2 in case something does happen to Beck.
Well, yeah. And if you got to get them reps in spring ball, where you get them the reps at.
But I think spring ball, they're going to see right away what they got.
Yeah.
And then if Luke Nichols is the next guy up, then over the summer and into fall practice, he's going to have to get as many reps as Carson Beck. So in case something happens to Beck, you can plug and play him right away. I think he's got the moxie already, the mentality to do that because he seems like an alpha at quarterback already.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to say he's going to ascend to the number 2 spot with the spring ball.
Right.
And then they're going to have to work with him over the summer and going into fall practice to make sure he is a solid 2 behind Carson Beck if in the event he gets hurt.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? Coming off an arm injury, even though we think he might be fine, it's even more important to find out what you have at number 2. So,
I mean, you look at Texas, okay, yours comes out a little bit and you didn't drop off with the Manning boy.
Well, yeah.
Okay. You want the same thing at Miami. If Carson Beck comes out for whatever reason, you don't want to drop off.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to hear this excuse about, well, he's a freshman. So was Manning.
Right. Yeah.
So was Bryce Young.
Yeah.
So was Tua. They were all freshmen.
Isn't the guy at Clemson? Wasn't he is he a freshman?
Goldilocks was a true freshman.
Yeah. So yeah.
Stroud, when he was at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Okay. These guys come right in like clockwork. Nobody says, well, he's a freshman. And they came in and showed you why they were 5-star, why they were highly touted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Miami needs to the fire.
Miami needs to do the same thing.
Yeah.
This kid coming out of Georgia is a 2-time state champion, Mr. Georgia football. Get him ready to be number 2. So when Carson Beck leaves, there's no doubt he's the guy. He's gonna be given the keys to the ship, and it's yours now, without worrying about, well, can he, should we play him in the bowl game and see what we're working with? We already know what we're working with.
Right.
He's legit.
And I hope this kind of answers Anthony's question, because I want to ask you guys, is it a smart thing to do to give him a lot of reps during spring and fall practice? And reps are 2 different things. Well, like I say, he got to get ready. I mean, if you believe in him.
He's got to get ready because you don't know what's up with Beck's elbow.
Right.
Until we know what's up with his elbow, which 9 times out of 10, Beck is going to be ready for fall practice. Until then, all these other guys need to get all the reps.
Yeah.
And if Luke Nichols shows that he is clearly the number 2, he needs to be given all the reps. That means over the summer, he needs to be out there with the receivers on their own with 7-on-7s. And Beck's going to be throwing by then.
Right, yeah.
You need to be out there equally, getting it in.
Yeah.
Getting the timing down, getting the routes down. This is where Cam excelled with Isaiah Horton. He excelled with Restrepo because they were out there over the summer on their own, getting the timing down, getting these sideline routes down, all that. So when fall practice came, everything clicked. So when the game came, You saw how pretty it looked during the game.
Right.
With the reps. It's going to have to be the same way this season. That's why I'm not worried about it. It's just
and I don't think they would have gave him $4.4 million if they were really worried about his arm. You know what I'm
saying?
Give
him all that, right. They're not going to give him $4 million on a whim, like, because they could have gave that money to a certain wide receiver to come home.
Yeah. Even though he might have been commanding, probably wanted more than that. Who knows? Shoot. Let's see. This is another comment.
Carson Beck made the smartest move you can make. And I think all the viewers will agree with that. Carson Beck made the smartest move of any quarterback. This is a weak draft coming up. Outside of Cam, Shador, and the Rocket, the kid that's playing two ways. This is a weak draft.
Yeah. For QBs, yeah.
For quarterbacks especially. So why would Beck? So I think Ewers made a huge mistake. I think Quinn Ewers made a mistake.
Should have went last year. Shoot.
He should have kept his ass at Texas.
Yeah. I think they were trying to force him out of Texas.
They were trying to force him out anyway because they want Manning now. They want him. And all these NFL teams really wait. They want to wait.
Yeah.
They waiting on Manning. That's what they waiting for. That's why this draft is they waiting. So I think Ewers made a mistake, and I think Beck made the smartest move because he could come out next year. He could be right behind Manning if he has a great season for Miami as a first-round pick. Now, wouldn't that be nice if Miami has 2 first-round quarterbacks back-to-back?
And I think Cam set the mold, coming back, getting an NIL deal, showing up.
I think the kids are looking at the offense with Shannon Dawson. I want to go there and put up those kind of numbers.
Right, yeah.
I want to play behind that type of line. I want to have a deep running back room and wide receivers and tight ends that are all legit elite talent.
Right.
So if I'm a quarterback, of course I'm going to look at Miami. They don't have a terrible offense.
No.
Shannon Dawson is one of the best offensive coordinators in college football. Ohio State just lost your guy. What's his name? He went elsewhere.
Right,
What's his name? That came from UCLA. Used to be the Oregon coach.
Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly gone.
Yeah.
I don't think Ohio State gonna be all that this next coming season. I really don't.
That's a big loss. He went to the Raiders, correct?
Right. I don't think Pete Carroll trying to do something out there with the Vegas Raiders. I don't think Ohio State is gonna be all that.
Yeah. It says a lot of recruiting sites when they talk about Josh Moore, they're comparing him to Michael Thomas, and Michael was coming out of high school. Do you guys agree with that comparison? It's an interesting comparison. I will say that much.
You could say that.
Yeah, I mean,
he's tall. He's very aggressive. He's a big kid. He's not some skinny, lanky kid. He can block.
Yeah,
he can block. So if I got a running back that's coming out the backfield, that's coming around, if my wide receivers can block, that's big. I got to have tight ends and wideouts that aren't selfish, that can block. That's another thing about Miami. Their receivers block.
Yeah.
George blocked. Restrepo blocked. Horton blocked. They all were good blockers.
Yeah.
That's why I say Miami offense, man, they weren't the number one offense for nothing. And they're developing these guys. And you're going to see with this upcoming draft, you don't have to always be a number one draft. You're just trying to get to the league.
Just try to get to the league.
And these upcoming kids are going to see that there are other schools out here. It's not just about Alabama and Clemson any longer, or Ohio State and Georgia. There are other schools out here. The SEC rhetoric is dead now because the Big Ten just showed you that we could kick the SEC right in the mouth, and that's over with now.
Right.
And I think the TV cable sports network knows it's over now. They're going to have to spread it out now.
Yeah.
And stop all this rhetoric.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, Paul Feinbaum was kind of sick, wasn't he?
He's sick. It is what it is. I mean, this 15 years of this dominance is over. Cam has definitely left a blueprint for quarterbacks and receivers. I hope like how they put in these.
Yeah.
Of course they are. They're going to put – you think Mario is not a stupid guy.
Right.
He's very quiet, very he's not a great recruiter for nothing. The only place Mario needs to improve his game is with the clock management and managing the game.
Right. And he got better. I keep saying he got better. Yeah.
What people need to understand, this program has been ascending for 3 years. It hasn't had a drop off.
Right.
So for all my baby fans out here, the baby Miami fans that are always crying about everything, you went from 5-7 to 7-5 to 10-2.
Right.
What's next? They're ascending.
Right.
The next thing is an ACC title, and you're finally in this playoff.
Yeah.
And okay, it's the best of 12. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's
What
go.
else? I mean, we all want a national championship, and I really feel like in my heart of hearts, Miami is going to have to do like everybody else. They're going to have to put up the money to get that. It's coming to that today. It's about the money.
Yeah, it's about the money. I mean, that's one thing I think some of the fans, they always, you hear people, first thing they say is like, oh, well, they bought this. Every school buying it.
Buying it. Okay. The days of going to get the talent and winning just on talent,
right?
You didn't have a lot of outside interference is over now.
Right.
Okay. Vegas is in this too deep.
Right.
Television networks are in this too deep. The cable sports network is in this the biggest.
Yeah.
It's about making money now. That's why that's why we have an NIL now. We're paying these kids. If you don't like where you're at, come on over here. We'll pay you.
There's no coincidence that, and this is off topic, that Cooper Flagg came from Maine and all the way down to Duke. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that just tells you the power of the NIL and money. He could have went anywhere in the nation.
And the portal. So until they put some rules in place and put some caps on all this, it is what it is. National Signing Day has, like I said, it doesn't have the same meaning any longer. You don't really look forward to National Signing Day because of the portal and the NIL, and these kids can move when they want to move now. So Miami is ascending.
Yeah.
That's all you can ask for as a fan. They're not stagnant. They're not just Miami wasn't spending money 10 years ago and 15.
Not like that. Not like they're spending the money.
Spending the money.
Right.
Clemson was, Florida State was, Alabama was, Ohio State always has been. They're going to go out and get it. They're going to go. When I say spending money, not necessarily with players, with the coaches.
Yeah.
With the facilities.
Yeah.
With the promotion. It's everything. With the staff.
Yeah.
The coaching staff, the behind the scenes type staff, with your athletic director, with your president. As much as I don't care for Kirk Herbstreit, he was right when he said on the program, when you have a coach, a president, and an AD on the same page that want to win, they all want to win. That's the recipe for winning.
Yeah.
If you have an athletic director that is not interested in football, if you have a president that's not interested in athletics,
right,
you're not going to get what you need to match up with these other state schools in another conference that always have the funds.
Right.
They have it. When I can fly my head coach in a helicopter anywhere.
Anywhere,
Okay, when I can land a helicopter in your front yard if I want to and come in the house, I want to be with him.
Yeah. Got 37 people in this building now. Hit that like button so we can get this video out, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel. I want to put this up here. It says, the younger generation of fans were too young to remember the 2001 National Championship. They have dealt with mediocrity, so they don't have the patience for building. Well, that's true, but hey, patience is part of life. That's what I would say to that. What would you say?
Well, yeah, but at the same time, they were too young to know what it was like in the first place. So what are you mad about?
Yeah, true.
Unless you went back and watched some videos, we've all done that. You're not going to get the kind of kids you got in the 96, 97, 98 class. A lot of these kids, like a Santana Moss, came in. They had to come in on track scholarship because they lost so many scholarships. These were track guys. Andre Johnson was a track guy. Butch Davis was a hell of a recruiter with no facilities. So all the new fans, they need to understand that it's changed.
Yeah.
As much as even me, I'm like, you know what? When I watch video of that 2000 team and the 01 team, I'm like, I'll never see that again.
Right.
Even if Miami were to go undefeated and win a national championship, it was just something about that group of guys.
Yeah.
That aura, that what they had, what they went through.
And football, you got to think they were national. It was people all over the country rooting for my. Either love or hate them. So.
And They had something special. That's how they could keep kids. How did they get a Frank Gore? How do you get a Frank Gore when you already got McGahee and Portis?
Right, yeah.
I don't want to. The kids today go say, I don't want to wait behind him.
Right.
I don't want to wait behind. I can go somewhere and play now.
Yeah.
How do you get a Frank Gore to come in as a freshman and he plays, he stays, and goes there? How do you get a Sean Taylor to go there when he could have went anywhere?
Yeah.
A lot of that was Butch Davis. A lot of that was the mystique, and they backed it up.
Yeah.
20 years, it hasn't been since really, like I said, the last really good team was, I say 04. 03, 04 were the last, when DJ then was seniors. That was probably the last really, really good team they had. It, you know, so for 20 years, you've been dealing with a team that's been drowning, and every now and then they stuck their head out the water to grab a gulp of air.
Like the Kaya team, Brad Kaya. Yeah, they had some.
I said then,
yeah,
and I argue with a guy. If he came back, if Njoku comes back the next year in 17, what kind of team would they have been?
Yeah.
If they won that bowl game, the last bowl game Miami won, that Russell Athletic bowl game, they beat West Virginia.
Yep.
And that's when Kaya was like, I'm going to try to go pro, and he got signed by the Lions. And Njoku went to the Browns. The rest, I mean, look, but you had forces within the Miami camp that was pushing these guys to go.
Right, yeah.
You got guys on YouTube right now arguing with one of them. I'm not going to say his name. He kind of pushed Njoku to go. I mean, I understand going to get the bag.
Right.
You didn't get that anyway.
Right.
If them dudes come back, but if it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. Brad Kaya lost his tooth against Florida State. Remember that game? They knocked his fucking molar out of his mouth. I knew at that point he was leaving.
Yeah.
So these guys, like I said, they had talent. Certain times they had it, but they left.
Yeah.
Because the structure wasn't there. The backing from the university wasn't there. So all these fans they want champagne, and they only got beer money. Now you got some champagne money. Let this man put it together.
Yeah.
The only people talking trash on Mario Cristobal are Oregon fans.
Well, yeah. And they should be happy. He actually built a team for him.
Oregon fans were salty because he left. Now he's no good. He's a terrible clock management. Well, before he got there, how many Pac-10 titles did Oregon win?
Right.
Okay. Right. Now the Georgia fans are throwing dirt on Beck because he left.
Right.
If Beck would have decided to stay, would you be throwing dirt on him? No, because they know he's better than what they got.
Yeah, a lot. Right, a lot better. Because what they got Gunner Stockton. I mean, come on.
They know if they know Carson Beck is better. They mad because he left.
Yeah,
and then he came here.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's put this up here. It says, do you think generations of football players is a different mentality? Do you want to be sitting for 2 or 3 years before they start? Oh, that's an interesting question, because I think a lot of it has to do with money.
Yes, it has. Money today plays a big part in it, because again, going back, Clinton Portis was, Florida wanted him bad. He was from up there. He's from up that way.
Right.
They wanted him, but they wanted to move him to cornerback. They wanted him bad. He was considering Miami, and he considered not coming because he was going to base his decision on what Edgerrin James was going to do.
Right.
And Edgerrin said, look, don't base your decision on me. You come here for the competition.
Right. Yeah.
He was worried. Do I come to Miami and sit behind James Jackson and Edgerrin James? The kids in the 90s and early 2000s, they had to work. These kids today, they don't have to. They're not willing. Some of them, not all of them. I'm not going to indict all of them. Some of them, you've been told you the man since you was a freshman in high school. Now you a senior. You all world, all state, this, that, and the other. Again, if I get into a room and I'm surrounded by other guys that were told the same thing, I'm sitting over here and I got some 5 stars over here and some blue chips over here, and we all fighting for the same spot.
Right.
I might stick around for a while, but if I'm not getting no click, my mom and daddy ain't going to be spending all this money to fly down here to watch me sit on the bench.
Yeah. And Even the same thing happening in high school athletics, because I would say 20, 30 years ago,
You couldn't move around like they do
you
now.
couldn't move around. You had guys playing at public high schools, and now you got guys leaving public high schools and going to play for super
How you
private
live in
teams and stuff
Hazelwood
like
School
that.
District? How you live in the Hazelwood District and wind up going to East St. Louis?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Make it
It's
make
like,
sense.
yeah, they don't want to sit there and compete at the schools they at, and they want to go play with all 5 stars because they want to be the
And
man.
I'm
So
not,
I get it.
and I'm not
I don't
saying
knock
that
them.
I'm not saying that to knock the high school kid, but I'm playing at this school this year, and next year I'm going to this high school because I know
Yeah.
I'm going to get seen more. This is what it's all about now.
But the funny thing about that is, it's like some of these kids transfer, and they were going to get recruited anyway. So at the high school they were at, they were already putting up mega numbers, already known. But they going over there because of the prestige and maybe the coach or whatever. But still, it's crazy. Hold on, somebody
This
said
generation. This is a generation of young people. They want it now. Whereas when we came up, we knew we had to put in the work. You had to be very exceptional to be brought up from freshman to JV to varsity to play.
Yeah.
You and I both know that. You had to be special.
right.
Otherwise, you back over there with the freshmen, playing with the freshmen, you playing with the sophomores before you even smell varsity.
Yeah.
Okay. You had to, because there are guys that the seniority thing is real, but it's the same on the jobs today.
Yeah.
People come to work today. They want to make the top pay now. They want the best job now. And it's like, no, man, you gotta put ice in the cooler. You gotta pay your dues before you can come over here and make demands about what you want to do.
Right. Right.
When I was in the airline industry, you couldn't just come out here and pick what you want to do. No, you got to get in the belly of that plane and load it like we did when we first started. And when you get some whiskers, then you can come out here and decide, I want this job.
Right.
I want that. It's the same with the sports. You can't just come in automatically thinking, I want this now.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm put this up here real quick because that's interesting. It says, when you guys were at high school, I'm not sure how old you guys are, did they have these private boarding schools like IMG? No, not in Missouri, not in Illinois that I know of.
IMG, we played in the late 80s and early 90s, and no, it wasn't a moving around like you did unless your family actually moved and had to show proof that your parents bought another house in another district.
And furthermore, our parents didn't have the money.
Right.
Just to be honest,
you were where you were at. You were loyal to where you were at.
Yeah.
And no, there wasn't no. I don't remember. Now I'm sure the schools like in California, the Boscos, and those are private schools. They were around. I don't remember IMG.
We had private schools, but not boarding schools.
No.
That not for sports.
And the private schools were not like they are today. When we went to school, the private schools didn't really recruit like they do now.
Right.
They didn't go around a certain area, I guess that kind of started in the late 90s and the 2000s, especially high school basketball. They would go watch kids and talk with their parents about considering putting their child into a private Catholic school or Lutheran high school. But in our day,
you come to church for about just once a month, and we'll give you a tuition break.
Right? I mean, Larry Hughes was supposed to go play at Jennings.
Right.
And he went to Cardinal Ritter.
Right.
That's basketball, but just to throw it out there.
Right. Yeah.
He lived around the corner from River Rose Mall, and Jennings had a program.
Yeah.
Jennings always had a basketball program, but he went to Cardinal Ritter because they started watching him in 8th grade.
Yeah. This one says kids in the 80s and 90s were cut from a different cloth. These kids cut from Shorman toilet paper. Hey, look, I'm not gonna knock the young kids out there because it might be one watching, but I agree.
First of all, we didn't have the resources. We didn't have social media. There was no internet. You played where you lived. And when we played, there were dogs in every district.
Yeah, everyone.
Even the schools that weren't that good, they had some killers on the team because, hey, you can't just pack up and leave and go somewhere else.
Right, yeah. Yeah, true.
Private high schools weren't as good. The public schools were better. The city schools were better. What made some of the county schools better was the busing. They had to bus the kids out to their schools to make them better.
Right, yeah. Yeah. I've got 32 people in the building. Hit that share button and like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Let's put a new person up here. Chef Dade. Hey, what's going on, brother? It says IMG was a tennis school like they are at football today in the 80s.
They
Didn't
probably
know
were.
that. Yeah, didn't know that.
They probably were. I wouldn't doubt it. I'm sure somebody with Florida would have a better history on it. They probably were into different things, but when they saw what this high school football thing could be,
yeah,
some states. I mean, it's high school football is taken serious no matter where you go, man. I was in Detroit and I went to a football game in '96 in Dearborn, Michigan. And the entire teams, both of them were all Arab dudes. I could not believe my eyes, man. Both squads, the entire team.
Yeah.
Arab kids playing football. All the parents and fans, because Dearborn is mostly Arab now.
Right.
And it took me back because I'm just 96. It was something different for me to see. I'm like, a coworker took me and I was like, whoa. Same type of feel, high school feel. Yeah. It wasn't nothing any different. It was just, these were Arab boys out here, and they was out there hitting. They had some dogs out there. They took it serious. It's serious wherever you go.
Yeah.
When you get to schools like in Texas that have more money, that's why they got college-like stadiums in Texas, and they got big time.
That's huge ones down there.
When you get to, when I first went to Miami in 2000, I didn't know they had live high school football on TV on Friday night. We didn't have that in Missouri. They didn't have live football.
Right, yeah.
On a Friday night?
No. We got all that stuff from the newspaper back then.
Right, we got from the newspaper. The cable company might have came out and filmed a particular game. That local cable channel, a local high school game that they might broadcast later. But that was new to me to go down to South Florida. They got a live high school on Friday night.
Yeah.
In Florida, and it wasn't even in Miami. It was from up in up northern Florida, but it was live all over the state.
Right.
Like, that was next level stuff to me because they didn't have that in Missouri or Illinois live.
Not live. It was everything was more word of mouth.
Right.
The big games. It might have been. You might have heard it on the radio or something of that nature. But it never was like
well,
that.
Just like college, high school is money now too. So look how far we've come in high school football in 25 years since 2000.
Yeah.
How these schools in high school have ascended now. They have more resources now. They're spending the money now.
Right.
So, and now kids are moving. I'm going to go live with my auntie over in this district now. And I got to show proof that I live with her so I can go play on this team now.
Right.
And if some of them make the grades, I might change my classification from 2026 to 2025. Maybe I went to summer school a couple of times on purpose to get extra credits, and I kept my grades up so I can graduate early and get in this class.
Right.
Things are so much different now than they were when I played.
It's weird. And it's a great statement because I didn't even know this. It says born and raised in Florida, and IMG just started playing football in 2013. And it's interesting. I wonder what made, we know money, but it's weird that 2013 would be, and what made them choose, to have football such a major part of their university. That's interesting. We know money.
Listen, what kids go to IMG? Elite kids from all over the country whose parents can afford to send them to this school.
Right.
IMG
What's the cost of that? Somebody put that in the chat. IMG cost.
Please, somebody find out what would it cost for a parent or parents to send their son or daughter, because I know they do more than football.
Right.
This place, they specialize in two things, if I'm not mistaken: athletics and academics. They're telling you they're private, but they're not a parochial school like Catholic or Lutheran. They're a private school. They're telling you as a parent, we're going to get your child developed academically and athletically for the next level.
Right.
The next level is college. They're not promising that your kid goes pro, but they're telling you, hey, look, we see that you have an elite child at this position in football, and you can afford to send that child to IMG Academy, and you might live in Michigan or New York or Missouri, and you have, as a parent, you can afford that.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to send my son to this school because they're telling me they're going to get him ready for the next level. They're telling me my son is going to be Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Miami, Ohio State type. We're going to get him into one of them schools.
Right.
If he stays home locally, he might not get seen like that.
Right. He don't get that push.
Like I said, I think it's for the kid $30,000 a year.
30,000. That's crazy. Just thinking about that.
It costs
30,000.
It costs 36,000. You know what? You know, in Missouri, in St. Louis, it costs 36,000 to go to MICDS.
Yeah, that campus.
That's where your boy. Now that's where your boy went to school. That's from here. That went to Ohio State.
Zeke. Yeah.
Zeke went to MICDS because his mom and daddy could afford. They had the bag for it. They both went to Mizzou.
Right.
Some parents got it like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Some parents got it like that. High school, 30,000 a year. Come on.
Really?
That's more than Mizzou. That's more than
right.
Kansas. That's more than going to Illinois and Champaign. Come on.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, boy.
Your child is rubbing elbows with the elites kids.
With the elites, and not just in sports, in business, everything.
My daddy is a federal judge. My mama is the vice president of this medical group.
Right.
Okay, that's who your kids going to school with. So if they can afford, if IMG comes at the door and say, hey, they show you what they got, and your son is 6'9", and he's weighs 320 pounds, and hey, we can develop him.
Right.
We'll get him signed by a Division I SEC school. We'll make sure he got the grades. We'll make sure he get the nutrition. We're gonna do all that.
Right.
You think if you as a parent can afford, we're gonna do that.
And you know what? They're probably not paying all that 30 anyway. They're gonna get some type of break, some of them. But Nella says, oh, well, this is interesting. It says Florida high schools don't have zoning anymore. Kids can go to high school in other counties. See, again, that's kind of like
Michigan the same way.
It's almost like St. Louis City when they were big, because they didn't have zoning, so you didn't have to go to Sumner or Beaumont, or you could have went anywhere. But of course, we stay in the county. We could go.
For those who are watching, it's different here in St. Louis because whatever school district you in, you forced to go to that school.
Yeah,
and that's a whole nother subject argument of why they do what they do here. But because schools are based off taxes, and this school district over here are the more affluent people live, and they get a lot more taxes than this school district. So anyway, that's an advantage in Florida. You might go to Booker T this year, and then next year you can go to Northwestern,
right?
Or you can go to Miami Central, or you can go to Norland, or any of the other number of schools in the Miami area. If you don't want to go to this school, you're allowed to do that. Whereas here, you can't do that. You have to move, and you got to show proof.
Or you have to go to a private institution.
Or you have to go to, and the private schools here have really taken off in the last 10 to 15 years because the private schools can recruit.
Yeah.
They can come to this school district and snatch the best talent and promise the world to the parent. Right. And they can go to this school district, and then all of a sudden they collectively have a lot of talent. When you're saying, hey, wait a minute, that boy lived down the street, he should be going here, but he's going to this private school.
Right.
That's the way it is with high school now.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, we're going to take this last comment before we get up out of here. We're going to take it from Anthony real quick. It's going to be, it says, watch the interview with the big ticket. Kevin Garnett, and he said throughout his high school career, it was a whole bunch of private schools that were recruiting him, but he stayed loyal to his public school.
He did. I watched him at the Coca-Cola game here in St. Louis. He played at Chicago Farragut, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And I watched them. They came down to St. Louis and they played Vashon. I was there. I remember that game. That was a great game. But yeah, he stayed true to his public school, and it paid off for him anyway. Everybody knew in high school he was
a monster.
He was NBA. He was going to league no matter what.
Right. He could have went anywhere.
He could have played at a preschool and still made it. But yeah, it's so different today because money has infiltrated the high school now.
Yeah.
It has. It has these high school teams with the financial resources, the tax base, the parochial schools. They're private. They can make more moves than the public schools can.
Right.
The parents are gonna put their kids in the best possible position that they can put them in, because let's face it, we both got kids in college.
Right.
Expensive.
Super. Shoot. Super.
And our daughter, okay, whoever gonna give you the most money for school, that's where you probably gonna go, because these schools at the end of the day, they want that check.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, it's so much different now with high school sports than it is now. So yeah, your IMGs, they're gonna go out here and they're gonna make promises, and they're gonna make I shouldn't say make. They're gonna offer things to parents who
Right.
have the ways and means to do it, to say, okay, your child is this. Would you consider us taking him at this academy where we're going to develop your child academically,
Right.
athletically? He's going to get the proper nutrition. We're going to get him ready for Division I.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can afford it, you're going to send him to an IMG. All the
Yeah.
kids on the IMG team are not from Florida.
Right.
They're
Right.
not.
There's a bunch of them not.
You look at that roster, you're going to see them from all over the country.
Yeah.
Some of them as far away as California and Oregon and Washington.
Yeah.
Their parents can afford to send them there.
All right.
Many of us don't have the ways and means to do that.
Got to get it out the mud.
You got to get it out the mud. And going to IMG don't mean you're going to go to a big time school anyway.
No. So it is what it is. All right. Well, that's going to conclude us for today. I want to thank all the people out there in the chat that support us, that's been here every day, every weekend with us. Once again, I have these Zone In Sports Hurricane Green right here. If you guys want to look to purchase this, this will be available starting Monday. You want to say anything, E, before we get out of here?
Thank you for the support. Thanks for tuning in. We're trying to build this thing. And we are, again, I said it last week, baby steps.
Yes, sir.
We're improving each week. We're going to get the content we need to get. We're doing the research we need to do to give you all what you're looking for, the insight on what we got going on down here in South Florida. So even though we in Missouri, we want all our Florida family to know that, we love our Canes and we true with it.
That's right.
We true with it. Damn everybody else. It don't mean I don't hate my Missouri Tigers. They're my home state, but to me, there's only one UM.
That's
and
right.
It's 305.
That's right.
That's it for me. I ride or die orange and green. Okay. So we're gonna build this thing up. We're gonna work this thing and stick with us. We know there's a lot of other podcasts, a lot of different interesting points of views and whatnot. And that's great. Everybody got something to bring to the table. And we appreciate everybody out there with the questions and keep it coming.
That's right. We're here. And if you have any questions during the week and you want to submit them,
Absolutely.
submit it to zoneinsports@gmail.com and any other topics that you would like us to cover. Also, send it email zoneinsports.com. And we appreciate it.
Enjoy the game tomorrow. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Go Chiefs.
Right. And drink responsibly. We're out. And that's a